This is my review video on the Joseph Parker versus Carlos Takam fight. Now I'll just go through what rounds I had for Takam and Joseph first, because it was a tough fight. I predicted it would be a 9th or 10th round knockout for Joseph Parker, and that it would be a really tough, very competitive fight. That it would be really kind of even up until that time. And I was right about it being competitive. I was right about Joseph Parker winning, but yeah, it went the distance. Joseph Parker didn't knock out Carlos Takam. Takam proved more durable than I thought, and obviously Joseph Parker doesn't punch quite as hard as I thought either. Now, saying that, Joseph Parker showed a lot of courage and a lot of heart in this fight, and he showed he could take a good punch. He took a lot of really good punches from Carlos Takam, a lot of really good counter punches. He could come back in the fight as well. I had him, I think, in the I think it was the 5th and 6th round. He had him losing, but he managed to come back. A lot of people thought he was kind of looking like he might be finished at that part of the fight, but he could come back. He shows he can come back in the fight. And what I hope he's really learned from this fight is not to open up too much and throw too many combinations. That really does leave him open to the counter and open to getting hit back. So he needs to pick the spots really to throw the combinations a bit better than he has been doing so far. When he stays in the outside and uses that really fast, sharp jab that he has, a bit like a Larry Holmes jab, he's really effective. But as soon as someone gets close to him, or as soon as he opens up, that's when he's vulnerable. And I hope he's learned that from that fight. That's what the point of getting up there and fighting these more experienced guys and actually winning shows. It shows, what you need to work on more and what you can take away and learn from that fight. And I think he's going to learn a lot from this fight. And Takam showed up in great shape. For some strange reason, people were saying Takam shows up fight fat or something, but I don't think he did previously, and he showed up in really great shape today. And the other thing I want to add is, like, Joseph Parker fought a better opponent than anyone Anthony Joshua has faced so far. Carlos Takam's very experienced. For some reason, people are trying to say now that Carlos Takam's not a power puncher, but he really is, and his record does show he's a power puncher. Maybe not at the same level as Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua, but he does have power in his punches, and Joseph Parker took them well, and he proved he can take a punch. And Joseph Parker's stepped up. I think he's fought a far better opponent than anyone Anthony Joshua's faced yet. Now, saying that though, the only opponent that Anthony Joshua has faced similar to Carlos Takam is Dillian Whyte. But the big difference is when Anthony Joshua fought Dillian Whyte was still an inexperienced, rising prospect who still had a lot to learn in the fight. When you watched Anthony Joshua versus Dillian Whyte fight, two things were very obvious in that. One is Dillian Whyte needed to work on his defence a lot more. He was taking too many punches, too many silly punches that he shouldn't have been taking, and he really needs to work on his stamina. That's what really let him down in the last few rounds. After, I think, the 4th round, he looked exhausted. I mean, he really needs to show up in better shape. Carlos Takam is completely different from that. He really does have good stamina. He can go 12 rounds. He just proved that again today. And Carlos Takam can punch hard as well, like Dillian Whyte. He's experienced. He's got good defensive skills. He's got good movement. He knows how to, just coast around properly. Let Joseph Parker just land a lot of the punches on the jabs and regain his energy. He's got the experience. Dillian Whyte didn't have that. So Joseph Parker has fought a far better opponent than anyone Anthony Joshua has faced so far, and I think Joseph Parker should be ranked just above Anthony Joshua right now, which I don't think is the case. Now, so I'll just talk you through the fight. I had Carlos Takam win in the 1st round. Parker landed more punches, but I thought Carlos Takam's punches were the more effective punches, the better punches that the judges would see and score him for. So I scored the 1st round to Carlos Takam. The next 3 rounds I all scored. The 2nd, 3rd and 4th round I scored to Joseph Parker. He just showed his superior boxing ability. He has the ability to work on the outside. Carlos Takam did coast a few of them rounds, and he did open up a bit more on the other one, but Joseph Parker showed his superior boxing skill there. Then it went over to Carlos Takam for the 5th and the 6th round. Joseph Parker actually kind of looked exhausted or hurt in the 5th round. My fiance that was watching it as well thought, Joseph Parker might be finished and exposed there, but he came back strong, and I was very impressed with that. That really does, show something about Joseph Parker's character. He came back and he won the 7th round. The 8th round, even though a lot of people, especially the commentators, thought Joseph Parker was going to finish him in that round, it didn't happen. I didn't think Carlos Takam was actually that hurt. I think Joseph Parker was taking a massive risk on unloading. I don't know what the combination was. It was a ridiculous amount. I think it was like 20 punch combination. But Carlos Takam, I thought, was fighting better at the start of that round, and I think he finished that round a lot stronger. So I scored that round a draw. 9th round I gave to Takam as well. But the 10th, 11th and 12th round I gave all to Parker. And the 12th round was tough. I mean, Carlos Takam really came out to try and knock out Joseph Parker in that last round, and Joseph Parker was, fighting good as well. They put on a really good show for the 12th round. Didn't end by a knockout, so it's not the ideal way for the fight to end, but overall it was a really good fight. It was a best fight of the day out of the Shannon Briggs and David Haye fight. So still got really high hopes for Joseph Parker. He's proved a lot during this fight, just like his stamina. He's really proved that now. He doesn't have stamina problems. He's went 12 rounds, and he's fighting at a really high work rate as well. He's got courage, he's got heart. He might not be as big a power puncher as Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder, but he does show speed. He shows, if he can just perfect what Kubrat Pulev has perfected, I think he should actually try and aim for more of that style, trying to open up and through too many combinations and knock the opponent out. Yes, it looks good for flashy KOs, but I think he needs to be a bit more efficient in his boxing. A bit more like Wladimir Klitschko or Kubrat Pulev. I think that would work really well for Joseph Parker, and I think he's going to learn a lot from this fight. I think he's going to change his style a bit. So I'm looking forward to him in the future. That's all I've really got to say.